we're back in the garden here at Central Union one more time. It's been a couple of weeks since we were able to get a video to you, and so today we're going to be talking about a couple of different ideas with our garden and our lessons from the garden. We've been talking about fruit. Our last video we talked about the fruit of the Spirit, and the first fruit in that list in Galatians chapter 5 verse 22, which says that the fruit of the Spirit is love. Today we're going to talk about joy and peace. I was thinking about how our work in the garden can teach us about joy and peace, and it really had me stumped for a while. I wasn't entirely sure how joy and peace were lessons that we could learn about in the garden. And then our cucumber plants came to my rescue. Come on up and take a look. Let's see if we can see how this cucumber plant functions. So friends, I'd like you to take a look right in here at our cucumber plant. And you can see that there are basically three structures coming off of this stem. The first one is our big sun leaf. This is what collects all of the sun's energy and transfers it into growing energy for the plant. The second structure that you'll notice is the actual blossom itself. This is what will ultimately turn into either a pollinator or the fruit, depending on the type of blossom that it is. The third structure is this secondary set of leaves, and with it this little tendril that will hold on to the stem. This is what we actually call a sucker, and what it will do is it will send off another whole vine that will continue to grow. It will produce more flowers and more fruit, but the other thing that it will do is it will pull the energy out of the plant and cause these other blossoms to take longer to fruit. And it'll make our plant just gigantic and unwieldy and really just a problem. So what I've been doing to help train our vines to grow vertically is I've been trying to take these little extra vines off when they're small. By doing that, I reduce the energy that's coming off into creating more plant, and we send it into the blossoms to make fruit. And they're pretty easy to pluck off of there, really, as they're growing. You can see this one's very small, and just pinch it off. And now all of the energy that would go into making a whole new vine will simply go into this original vine into creating fruit. Friends, as those vines are clipped off, it reminded me so much of some of the things that we've faced in the last 6 or 7 months. I know for myself, before this pandemic hit, I felt like I had vines going everywhere. And I was so busy and so overwhelmed most of the time. And that's not to say that this has been easy. But over the last few months, so many parts of my life have kind of fallen away. I think in many ways in a healthy way. And that falling away of some of the extra busyness has shown me that I was really lacking the energy for joy. All of those things were just sapping so much of the joy and the peace in life. With the falling away of so many of those pieces, of course, came new worries and new stressors for so many of us. But one of the things that I'm discovering is that as those extra things fall off, I now have energy in a new way, in a different way, to blossom and bear fruit. In Philippians 4 verse 4, Paul says to rejoice always, which many times in the last 6 months I think has been hard for some of us. I know it's been hard for me. I've often forgotten that that verse, it doesn't stand on its own. It says to rejoice always, but it also says that God is with you to not be anxious. Don't be worried, because Jesus loves you and is with you. And God will guard our hearts and our minds. And as God guards our hearts and minds, the peace that passes understanding will flow through us and fill us. I don't think that the order of the fruit of the Spirit, love, then joy, then peace, is an accident at all. I'm discovering that as God takes off some of the extra in my life, I find that that allows me to feel joy. As that joy flows through me and as that joy fills me, God's peace comes and does the same. You know, Jesus said that he came to give us life and to give it abundantly. Not just a little here and there, but full and overflowing. It doesn't mean that things are not going to be hard. It doesn't mean that things aren't going to be overwhelming. What it does mean is that when I allow God's Spirit to work in my life, that Spirit will grow fruit in me, and that fruit will be joy and peace. In Nehemiah, it talks about how the joy of the Lord is our strength. I don't know if you've known anyone with an inner peace, but those seem to be the strongest people I've ever met. That joy brings forth peace. That peace allows us to love. And we can see that the fruit of the Spirit feeds each other. Love feeds joy. Joy feeds peace. And as we travel through the fruit of the Spirit, we're going to see that each one grows the next and becomes a continuous circle. This week, I hope and I pray that your joy will be full, that you will know the peace that passes understanding, and that you will be filled with love.